Oh, I'm sitting on a new butt rock. Oh, and this one is, I think, twice as pointy as the previous butt rock at Butt Rock Beach. Kind of in a new location. Hello, welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a Sunday Stuff and Things. You find me out and about. I have my big camera bag, my Domke F2, and I was out trying to take some pictures. This is a trail kind of near the waterfront area, sort of close to where I film my other Sunday videos. And I'd heard that there were some good birds around, some cormorants and some great blue herons and stuff. There's kind of this loop trail that goes around this lagoon. Didn't see anything today, really. There were some Canada geese and, various ducks and such, and gulls. But I was trying to record a video, which may or may not actually make it onto Stuff and Things, where I was going out trying to get some nature photography. But we are here for the Sunday Stuff and Things. And on this Sunday Stuff and Things, we have stuff and things to talk about, including upcoming videos, things that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things YouTube and Stuff and Things Patreon. We're going to get into a little bit about how Edward G surprised me. HU's Edward G, a Vapurkey. Yes, Vapurkey. That is the proper designation for this kind of blend, a Virginia Perique with a little bit of Kentucky. We're going to talk about why I like street photography. We're going to go into photography a little bit, and people have commented on some of my videos about photography and also on some of my Instagram posts how you're doing good, but I don't really love photos of strangers on the street. Like, why do you take those kinds of pictures? What is it about that kind of thing or that subject matter that appeals to you? So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Most people a lot of the people who watch my YouTube stuff seem to prefer the nature photography over the street photography. And then we will, of course, get into your questions, comments, and feedback in hashtag askstuffandthings. And then we'll close out the show with a Patreon shout out and update section. So let's get into it. All right, so what can you look forward to on Stuff and Things YouTube and Stuff and Things Patreon? Well, this coming week on YouTube, there will be a review for the Lochby Mini Field Journal. I think I've shown it to you a couple times on a Sunday Stuff and Things, and it's a cool little pocket journal system. Well, kind of pocket journal system. It's kind of too big to fit into a pocket, but it has a really nice way of being able to insert other little notebooks into the notebook system, kind of similar to a Midori Traveler's notebook. I think if you're into Midori Traveler's notebooks or any other kind of like pocket journaling system, you will enjoy this product and enjoy the review. That's coming up this week. The next week on Stuff and Things Patreon, we will have the HU Edward G review. So that's the Vapurkey we've been talking about, a blend which the other week you guys gave me feedback about whether or not you would experience any bite with HU blends in general. Seems like you don't really, and I didn't really either. The full review is coming up, not this week, but the week after on Patreon. And then after that, we will have our nature photo walk in Bellingham near the waterfront, trying to look for birds. So a photography-related video. Lots of good stuff coming up on Stuff and Things YouTube and Stuff and Things Patreon. And that's not even to mention the other videos that I post on Patreon every week. The From the Archives Pipe Blend review series, where I'm reposting videos that have to disappear from the YouTube channel because YouTube doesn't want pipe stuff on there anymore. So that stuff's all going to Patreon. So stay tuned. Lots of good stuff coming up. So last week I got a lot of good feedback about HU blends in general, whether or not you guys have experienced HU blends giving you tongue bite, because when I did the first impressions video of HU Edward G, which is a Virginia, Perique, and Kentucky blend, it felt like it was approaching tongue bite. I was getting that kind of mouthfeel. It's like, what's a good example? Like if I'm eating very, very spicy food and I take a couple bites and I realize, okay, if I actually finish this isn't going to go well. I'm going to start sweating. I'm going to get hot flashes. I'm not going to enjoy this. So maybe I'll just put this aside and not finish this meal. And it was kind of like that with HU Edward G. It was feeling like it was on the verge of giving me tongue bite. And then at least in the first impressions video. And then so when I asked you guys about it, many of you responded and let me know that no, it didn't give you tongue bite. It was fine. And throughout the whole process of me trying this blend for review, it didn't. It still got close a couple times, but it never actually veered into actual tongue bite territory. But the thing that really surprised me about this blend, and I don't want to give the review away because that's coming up on Patreon, but it's really, really good, and so good that I found myself preferring it over, you know, Dunhill Elizabethan, or not Dunhill, Peterson Elizabethan, which is pretty much my go-to blend and has been my go-to blend for 10 years or so. I was really, really looking forward to my sessions with HU Edward G. And I think the thing about it is that it has that deep, dark red Virginia flavor that I really love. And the thing that I really, really enjoy about Elizabethan, it has the peppery spice, the mouthfeel, and the tingle in the nose. But there's this little bit of something extra. And we'll get into that in the full review if you check that out on Patreon when it's out. But it's so well-rounded. It has this sort of sweet and tart or kind of sour aspect to it. It has just enough boldness, but it is, it's an interesting blend. And I don't want to say it's a blend I've enjoyed the most, or it's the new blend I've enjoyed the most in like the last year of me reviewing blends, but it's pretty close. And it's exciting because this is an entire series of blends that I don't really have much experience with. And I'm really looking forward to trying out some of the other blends. A lot of you have already given me pointers as to where I should go next. A lot of people are talking about director's cut, so I probably will try that next. That'll be the next HU blend that I try. But I'd love other suggestions below as well. But yeah, exciting times. It's just amazing that I could be doing this for so long and I can find an entire new line of blends that I don't really have any experience with, and that there could be a potential new favorite blend within this line. Pretty cool. So I've been posting about photography for quite a while now. The last 12 months, I have really, really been delving into photography. If you don't follow my photography Instagram, you should. It's at Bradley A. Victor on Instagram, where I post pretty much every day photos that I have taken. Most of them are street photography photos. And I know that street photography is not necessarily something that has a huge, wide appeal, especially some of the feedback that I've gotten on this channel and some of the images that I post on Instagram. People say like, why do you want to take photos of strangers? Why would I want to look at a picture of someone I don't know and someone who I've never met? Why don't you take more pictures of animals or pretty landscapes? And it's hard to completely just distill it down into one little quick, easy sentence as to why I really like street photography so much. But I think I can try to explore this a little bit and explain it to you, and then maybe you will understand and be able to better appreciate the kinds of images that I enjoy. There's, of course, a long history with street photography since cameras have existed and since they became slightly more portable, not these giant, like, you know, cameras that you had to have on a giant easel or a giant tripod with the movable bellows and everything, and where people would have to sit still for 10 seconds in order to get the shot. Once you started having like the Kodak Brownie and things like that at around the turn of the 20th century, people have been trying to go out and take photographs of everyday life. And you can kind of put that in the category of documentary photography, where usually in those cases, you're trying to document an important event, but then there's the whole category of just everyday life, people going about their business. And why is that interesting? Why is that unique? I think for me, it's because it's hard. It's really hard to get good pictures when you do that, because you don't have the time to really, really get this perfect composition. You don't have the time to, seek out a subject, set up your gear, get all the lighting and everything perfect and then snap that shot. You know, if you're taking a picture of an amazing, beautiful mountain or a landscape or architecture or anything like that. Nature photography can be difficult too because there's a lot of luck involved. You have to find the animal and then you have to wait for the animal to be in your frame, and you have to usually use long telephoto lenses. Like, it's a whole different thing as well. But with street photography, it all happens in a split second, you know, 1/250th of a second often is my shutter speed when I'm doing street photography. And for me, it's capturing this little moment, and it makes me feel this moment of connection with the subject in the photograph. And I think that's really why I gravitated towards it to begin with, because, you know, over the last year, I have felt, you know, lonely sometimes. And it's nice to go out and through the lens interact with other human beings and capture these tiny little human moments that are infinitesimal. Like, they will never happen again, that exact moment that you've captured. And you could say that about taking a photo of a mountain, let's say, but you can pretty much get the same picture. If the lighting is pretty much the same, you could frame the photo the same and pretty much capture that image again if you're photographing a stationary landscape. But with street photography, with people moving through the frame, every day is different. All the people you see are different. Obviously, you know, you will start seeing some of the same people if you're in the same place all the time. But it's just this tiny little moment that you've been able to capture. And it, for me, doesn't even have to be about something really strange or interesting happening in the frame. It could just be an expression. It could be a look. It could be a hand gesture or something. And it just really appeals to me because it is so fleeting. It is so ephemeral. That's what I really like. And sometimes you will see just someone who's really interesting. You're like, oh, I want to take a picture of that person. But even if they're a super interesting subject, you might not get a super interesting picture because the interaction of the camera and the person you're photographing just doesn't come off. There isn't an expressive gesture or a look or something. And you could have just someone who looks the most run-of-the-mill human being you could imagine, but they might give you that. And you might not even notice it until you go back and look at your pictures later, if you're developing film or if you're going through your camera roll. I don't know. It's really exciting to me to have 150 photographs on my digital camera and know kind of what I got, but then go back and put those on my computer and just see, like, did I capture one of those moments, one of those little looks or gestures that really appeal to me. If you are interested in street photography and you kind of want to know some of the history or some of the people who are considered really good at that craft, I would recommend Robert Frank. He had a book called The Americans, which is really, really good. Gary Winogrand is another one that I would check out if I were you. People like Joel Meyerowitz. There are a lot of kind of masters in the field who have sort of set the groundwork for the genre. And maybe if you look at some of that work, my work doesn't compare to that. So if you look at people who are considered, you know, some of the seminal artists in the field, maybe you will get an understanding of why I like street photography so much. All right, but now, gang, it is time for hashtag #AskStuffandThings. Remember, if you have a question for me and you would like it answered on the Sunday Stuff and Things, you can tweet at @SATBradley with the hashtag #AskStuffandThings. If you are a Patreon supporter, you can write to me via Patreon and go right to the front of the line. Or you can leave questions, comments, and feedback under my YouTube videos in the comment section. I read through every single one of them and pick out the right comments to put on the Sunday Stuff and Things. You can't hit that super thanks button under this video anymore because this channel has been demonetized by YouTube. But we have one thing that I found so sad. This was posted on a review of Frogmorton's Cellar, which I posted a very long time ago. And the comment is from @TimJordan6551, who says, "I'm getting back into pipe essing and I can't find Frogmorton. Was it discontinued?" How do you tell somebody something like that? You know, it's like, I don't know, a good example of someone from Seattle was in a coma, and they were a huge Supersonics fan. And then they were in a coma for 20 years, and they wake up and like, oh, I can't wait to go to a Sonics game. Like, well, let me tell you, you might want to go to Oklahoma City. Yes, at Tim Jordan 6551, Frog Morton is gone. All the McClellan blends are gone. You can't get them anymore, and I am sorry. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. All right, now we have some feedback from last week's Sunday Stuff and Things. This is from @DonPasto6378, who says, it's too bad about the working channel. I hope it doesn't go away. I really enjoy it. Yeah, and I mentioned how I am taking a hiatus from working because working is not working right now. Nobody's watching it. I need to revamp it, and we will look into that in the future. So stay tuned. Working won't go away forever, but I do need to kind of reformulate what I'm trying to do with working and get some new ideas. So stay tuned for that. @Stig6370 says, I did start to watch Working, but it did get a bit repetitive. Maybe you could try doing more of a how-to channel. Yeah, thanks for the feedback. I never wanted to do how-to with that because I'm pouring concrete, and most people don't pour concrete. Like, it's not like I'm doing home repair or, DIY stuff around the house where I'm like, oh, if you need to do this, here's how you do it. I'm pouring concrete, and most people are not going to pour their own concrete. So I've never really wanted to lean into that, but we'll see. We'll see. Things are still in flux. @JDog0006 says, just my opinion, your working videos are well done, but I'm guessing many people don't enjoy watching someone do manual labor for multiple watches. For me, it's interesting enough to check out, but the content is never going to pull me in. I'm sure some people love it, but not enough to drive huge numbers. And yeah, that does seem to be the case, and that's why I need to change things. J-Dog continues, I know you like photography. Have you ever thought about that as a standalone channel? Not my cup of tea, but I know there are a lot of people into that. Probably not. I don't want to be a photography YouTuber. I just want to be a photographer. Like, that's a hobby of mine, and it's something I will talk about on this channel, but I don't want to make a channel only about that. And that's probably to my own detriment, because I probably could get pretty good views on a channel that was just about photography. But this is an eclectic channel. I like to talk about eclectic things, and that'll stay that way. This channel will stay that way, and I will talk about photography on this channel. @Existential Skater says, Socrates said, the only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing. Makes you wonder. I bet his back must have been killing him too much. I guess his back must have been killing him too, man. So we had that comment last week where someone was angry at me for hurting my back because I should have known not to hurt my back. @Kenjiro5775 says, when you get older, you can hurt your back sneezing, getting out of bed, picking up a sock, or putting on a shoe. How is one to avoid that? Well, apparently you just have to know not to hurt your back, and then you won't. @Richard Thompson 6079 says, I've never heard of HU. Looks like something else to try, and I'm so glad you didn't hurt your back on purpose. Yes, thank you. These rocks are collapsing underneath me. I'm in a very precarious position right now, and my butt is killing me. Don't clip that out and use that as a drop. Let's see. @Cascadian Piper says, fake spring, man. I never trust the weather in Whatcom County until July 5th. So yes, I live in Whatcom County. Oh, my butt hurts. And the spring has been non-existent so far. You see me today, it seems kind of nice out. It's the first non-rainy day on a weekend for I don't know how long. It has been raining so much here. Every freaking weekend when I want to go out and take pictures, it is just pouring down rain. Every work week, I'm getting just absolutely soaked. I'm surprised I'm not growing gills and webbed fingers right now because I'm just completely soaked all day long, every single day while I'm working. It's supposed to rain like crazy tomorrow. This is the one day where I could get out and try to take some photographs of nature. And you see me out here, it looks nice, but it's like 42 degrees at the moment. It's not warm. My nose is running constantly. It's windy. I want spring. I would really like some spring. All right, but we still have some feedback from the first impressions video for HU Edward G. This feedback is from Patreon because that is the only place you can watch that video. This is from Mr. Dearly, who says, I've only tried director's cut. It's good, but I too found it very wet and definitely a sugary casing. I intend to try Makhua because I do love Burleys. Makhua. That sounds like Haktua, and I hope it has nothing to do with that. I'm sure it doesn't. Makua, yeah, I haven't heard of that. If that's an HU blend, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, Director's Cut is one that a lot of people have pointed out to me. Next, we have Khalid Noraldeen, who says, thanks to you for letting us know more about this HU blend. I'm following you for years, and I hope I can see more videos about pipe tea reviews like used to be. Well, don't worry. If you are a Patreon supporter, and you are because you commented on Patreon, you will be seeing a lot more videos about pipe review teas, or pipe tea reviews. That makes more sense. We have Groovin' Piper, who says, I've had a few of the HU teas now, none of the Latakia blends. I used to like Latakia, but now not so much. I've noticed them to be pretty moist. After about 15 to 20 minutes of dry time here in dry northern Nevada, they are becoming some of my favorites. As always, I'm looking forward to the review. Take care, and happy S's good friend, Bradley. Thank you, Groovin' Piper. And then Tommy Hale says, I've been wanting to try the HU blends as soon as I heard that they were coming to the US market, but I haven't picked up any yet, mainly because of all the open tins I have. Out of the ones I've looked at, Edward G was the one that caught my attention the most. I'm excited to see your full review when it comes out. And yeah, I'd heard about the HU blends coming to the US, and for some reason they just completely passed me by. So I'm really happy and really excited that I've gotten into these, and I'm looking forward to trying more blends out. Thank you for all that feedback. Please keep it coming in. It really helps make the show go. But now it is time for the very best part of the show, and that is where I thank our Patreon supporters. Remember, if you would like to support the channels on Patreon, there is a link in the description box below, and it is much appreciated. As you've all heard by now, my channel is not monetized because YouTube doesn't like pipe stuff. It may be able to be monetized again in the future as we remove some of the pipe stuff from YouTube, but we shall see. So for now, the only way you can support the content that you enjoy from Stuff and Things is by supporting the channels on Patreon. There is a link in the description box below, and every week we shout out those heroes who support the channel at $25 or more a month. The producers, people like Jason Buckner, Arcturus, Ashes of the Phoenix, Jonathon Proctor, The Friendly Piper, GreatGrol, Glenn, Les Brady, David Severin, Nicholas James, Kyle Whitmore, and Mr. Gibson. And of course, the Maniacs, the crazy people who support the channels at $100 a month. People like Bob Magee and Ryan McFadin. And we'll never forget our dearly departed friend and Hall of Fame member, Peter Straub. Now, gang, there are more things to look forward to on Patreon. So, this coming week, we will have From the Archives Dunhill My Mixture 965 review. That will be posting this Thursday on Patreon. A very interesting blend, and one that I remember really enjoying when I first tried that. This is from 2014, this blend review, I think from October of 2014. So I think, no, I was gonna say it was my first kind of Oriental forward English blend, but I had done Durbar right before that. But it was definitely one that I really enjoyed. It had a little Cavendish in there. And I think I remember at least getting, I don't know, 5 or 6 tins and really delving in to My Mixture 965. It was one of my favorites for a while, way back in the day. So check that review out. That's gonna be on Patreon this week. The week after, we will have HU Edward G full review. And then the one from the archives will be Dunhill Aperitif. Remember that blend? You haven't heard that name in quite a while, but that was a very interesting one as well. So lots of good stuff coming up on Patreon, lots of good stuff coming up on YouTube. Now I'm going to get out of the cold. I might try to look around a little bit more and see if there are any birds I can photograph. But until next time, until we meet again, I've been your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a Sunday Stuff and Things. I'll see you later.